Hello, folks. We join Roger Chang in the middle of taking his Myers-Briggs personality test. If you would like more on this, subscribe to our Patreon and get the full RSS feed. You can hear more of his answers on envy and whether he hates other people.
You would rather see your child grow up kind than smart. Yeah, but if you're kind...
I had to think of your child when I answered that.
I don't know, because I want my kid to be nice, but, you know, being nice and stupid means you're going to get taken advantage of.
Well, that's what the question's for. How far are you through it?
You do not let other people influence your actions. Disagree slightly. Your dreams tend to focus on real-world events. Totally disagree, especially with Django being the head of a media empire in my dream. Like, yeah, I literally...
Does that literally mean dreams, or like your dreams as in aspirations?
Oh, well, I basically dreamt of talking dog people that ruled the world.
Like, you both have dreamt of talking animals, in my experience.
Yeah, but mine walked, but mine was your dog, and she was in a, like, business outfit sitting at a desk.
That was no dream.
Does not take it.
Veronica dreamed of talking bears.
That's true. That's a long time ago, though.
Was it the Charmin commercial? Because those are talking bears.
No.
That's how I describe Care Bears now. So just imagine the bears from the Charmin commercial with tattoos on their stomachs.
Should we get started?
All right.
Yeah, we can start early.
Hiding.
Roger, you keep taking your tests. Let us know what you...
Yeah, we can bring him back during the bot discussion.
Yeah, totally. All right, here we go. 3, 2.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Do you want to help out the Daily Tech News Show? Well, it's really easy. Just go to dailytechnewsshow.com/support and find out how. Thank you.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, June 6, 2017. I'm Tom Merritt, Veronica Belmont. On a Tuesday, how's it feel on a Tuesday? It's weird.
It's weird. It's totally weird.
It's also weird because your Wi-Fi is out where you're at, so we have to only have voice.
I am tethering right now, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. But thank you for your persistence. I appreciate it.
Always, nevertheless, she persisted.
Nevertheless, Veronica persisted in doing the show. A little bit of a different show, especially in the fall, in the wake, I should say, not fallout, but the wake of WWDC. Different kind of news day. So we'll get a bot take from Veronica, and we got a bunch of fan mail. I'm going to call it a Fan Mail Tuesday, even though that's not an alliteration. But let's start with a few tech things you should know. The Omen X compact desktop is HP's backpack PC, designed to be used for virtual reality, and it comes with a dock, so when it's not on your back, you can use it like a regular computer. In fact, they sell it without the backpack attachment. It starts at $2,499, and if you want to put it in a backpack, then you got to pay an extra $600. Both those are coming in July. Would you do this?
No.
No backpack VR for me.
No, I'm good for now. I'll wait till the price point comes down a little bit.
Without VR, though.
That is literally true, yes. Google released an update to its Pixel phones that says, quote, should address many of the freezing issues that have been reported. The over-the-air update should roll out in the next few days.
If your phone hasn't frozen.
That's right. Ta-ha.
Launch event for the OnePlus 5 will happen June 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern with the tagline, focus on what matters. So everybody assumes it has to do with a cool camera. Streamed at 1pl.us/launch if you want to watch it on June 20th.
Kaspersky Lab has filed antitrust complaints in Europe against Microsoft for abusing its dominant marketing position to push its own antivirus service, Windows Defender.
Yeah, they did that in Russia too, so they're continuing to go after Microsoft for bundling and security, which I've had mixed feelings about. I don't like monopolistic practices. At the same time, I think operating systems should bundle in security. I think that's important.
Yeah. And Windows Defender, I mean, at least last time I checked, was pretty good. It was pretty decent.
Kaspersky would disagree with you, but most reviewers would not. So here are some more top stories. Amazon, Reddit, Mozilla, and several other companies are joining together to support an internet-wide day of action to save net neutrality on July 12th. Websites will, quote, sound the alarm about the FCC's proposal to change ISP classification. We don't know exactly what that means yet, probably displaying some kind of prominent message. Kickstarter, Etsy, Vimeo, Y Combinator, GitHub, Pantheon, BitTorrent, Shapeways, Nextdoor, Patreon, DreamHost, all among those on board. There's a bunch of nonprofits, about 30 organizations on board as well. The FCC is taking comments on the change to the open internet guidelines until August 16th. So the idea is on July 12th to make it clear what these companies think about the change. And we could use some net neutrality right now to bring the packets from Veronica in, right?
Hello.
Oh, there you are. I thought maybe they were throttling you already.
No, I don't know what happened. It disappeared. Where should I pick up, Tom?
No, I was just mentioning the Amazon Reddit Mozilla movement on July 12th. So what do you think of this? Remember, the SOPA blackout was very effective. It essentially killed the SOPA law. This is not Congress, though. This is the FCC. They are less amenable to public pressure, I think.
Yeah, I think this is a great, I technically kind of maybe have to recuse myself from this for reasons I can't say yet.
Well, there's a lot of companies involved in this.
Yes, there are. There sure are.
But
I think it's a really
general,
good thing.
Yeah, without speaking on the particular movement, what do you think another SOPA could happen with this issue?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely it's a danger, and I think we have to stay vigilant about it because it feels like it's coming down the pipeline.
I don't think the FCC is going to change their minds no matter what happens. That's unfortunately the way I feel about it. I also don't think as many things will change as quickly as people fear. I think that, if there is an upside, that would be the upside. Public pressure can still be applied to companies not to do abusive measures, even if they have the freedom to do it, which is how it worked up until 2012, right? So, it's not the end of the world, but I suppose if you're opposed to this reclassification, that it's important to make it clear that you're opposed to it, whether you think it's going to have an effect or not.
Lyft is partnering with autonomous vehicle company Neutrality to launch autonomous car ride-hailing in Boston. Neutrality has been testing a small number of Renault Zoe EVs in Boston. I don't know much about cars, sorry folks, and will integrate Lyft software into a couple of them in the coming months. Lyft also has autonomous car partnerships with GM and Waymo.
Now, Veronica.
What?
Does it have anything to do with your knowledge of cars? It has to do
what,
with your proud tradition of mispronouncing things.
I never know if Zoe is Zoe. I never know.
I don't know for sure on that one. I know it's Renault because it's French.
Did I say Renault?
You said Renault.
God damn.
I would guess Zoe, but I could be wrong on that one.
A million people are emailing you right now to tell you how wrong you are about all
Keep
of
them
it.
coming. I think this is a great partnership. Neutrality, of course, doing the autonomous car service in Singapore, one of the first companies in the world to offer actual autonomous car service to the public there. So bringing it to Boston is great. We don't know when it's actually going to be available for people. This is just the announcement of the partnership. But Lyft also taking a different tactic from Uber, which is trying to roll their own autonomous car. Lyft partnering with GM, with Waymo, and now with Neutrality saying, we'll take all comers. We don't care who you are. I mean, if they weren't in direct competition, they'd probably partner with Uber on that one as well.
Yeah, and someone, who was it today? One of the big car companies sold all their Tesla stock because they're working on their own EV stuff. I think it was Ford. But I'm not 100% sure. So there's definitely, the movement is happening. Movement, get it?
Yeah. Toyota.
Toyota
sold all its Tesla stock because they want to do a flying car by 2020.
There you go.
The U.S. Supreme Court agreed Monday to hear Carpenter versus the United States and take on the decision of whether the government needs a warrant to obtain location information from cell phone companies. Now, decisions in courts up to now on the issue have relied on a 1979 court case called Smith versus Maryland. In that case, the Supreme Court ruled that since you hand over the number you dial to a third party, namely the phone company, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. The fact that you make a call requires someone else besides you and the party you're calling to know about it. And so, hey, the court said that's not private. And that therefore warrants were not needed to go to telephone companies and get a record of who you called. Now, under the Stored Communications Act in the U.S., investigators still must show what's essentially reasonable grounds to believe the records are relevant and material in order to get location information out of a cell phone. They, however, don't need to show probable cause, which is the normal thing that you need to show to get a warrant. So the argument that will be decided by the Supreme Court is whether or not the Stored Communications Act violates the Fourth Amendment prohibition against unreasonable search and seizure. If you're the if you're the law enforcement, if you're the United States, you're saying, no, this does not violate the Fourth Amendment. It's perfectly reasonable. It is a lower standard because location information is also shared with your phone company, and therefore you don't have an expectation of privacy. On the other hand, if you're arguing on the side of Carpenter, you're saying, hey, location information, a whole different thing, and you can't not share it. You don't have a choice. And so we think this is a violation of the Fourth Amendment protection.
Oh, man, that's tricky. I don't know. Do you feel like location data is different from call data?
I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I take the tactic in my own life of, hey, lots fewer things are private than you think are. Forget about laws. There's people out there harvesting data all over the place. And so I try to live my life with the idea that pretty much everything could be seen by someone. Don't rely on the privacy of anything on the internet. That's just a long-standing fact of the internet since the 90s. That said, I don't want the law to open up the doors and make it easy to find out those things, right? Right. So I would like it to require a higher standard. And I feel like in the current climate, law enforcement is wanting to have easier ways to get at things for very good reasons. But those pressures are so much that we should hold the line and make sure that you really need the easier path before we give it.
Yeah, I mean, the expectations of privacy, especially like you said, of companies that work as data brokers. Fortunately, most of that data is anonymized and just being used as a general trend kind of predictor. But yeah, you can find about a person using that data also. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, do we give up a level of privacy for convenience and safety, or do we try as much as possible to lock ourselves down?
And remember, probable cause means, hey, we're pretty sure this person committed a crime and we want these records. That's what we're not saying that the law enforcement couldn't ever get location records. It's just, what standard of evidence do they have to bring? Can they be like, hey, this person is probably involved somehow. We don't know if they committed a crime. That's the reasonable evidence. Saying no, you can never have them without at all is not what's at issue. Is it someone who's tangentially related to something and it's a bit of a fishing expedition because you think, hey, maybe it'll shed some light on the case? Or is it, we know for sure, we're fairly confident, not know for sure, we're fairly confident this person is connected to this case?
Yeah, I mean, it's super tricky. And I think it goes just even beyond, as you were saying, the general privacy stuff and into how warrants are actually obtained and what constitutes probable cause.
Yeah.
Amazon announced a 45% discount on Amazon Prime membership to U.S. residents who have an electronic benefits transfer card. The service normally costs $10.99 a month in the U.S., but the discount would make it $5.99 per month and still provide free two-way shipping, online movies and TV shows, and more. And this is kind of like bring it down from feeling like a very, they want to make it accessible to everyone as much as possible.
Yeah, they want to compete with Walmart.
Yeah. They didn't get Jet. They're mad. So now they're going to try to beat up the price.
Whether the motivation is greed or not, it's probably mixed, right? I mean, obviously they want to compete with Walmart. On the other hand, they also don't want people to feel like they can't shop at Amazon. It's because they want to sell things, though.
Well, I love how I immediately was like, this is so altruistic, and Tom is like, they're greedy.
I don't think they're super,
like, why not both?
Yeah, I don't think they're super greedy. Sawyer, on the other hand, does.
He's got some things to say.
They're greedy. But yeah, I think this is a good plan for whatever the motivation is, because if you're on electronic benefits, if you don't understand what that is, that's basically government assistance in the United States, then this is a way to take advantage of free 2-day shipping and Amazon Prime Video and all kinds of other things. Don't you think?
Yes, I said yes. Did you not hear me say yes?
I was hoping you would buy me time to get Sawyer calmed down.
I can't. I said all I can say about it. Oh, jeez. You want me to read the next one while you go calm Sawyer down? Okay.
We'll just keep the dog barks in. According to Bloomberg, Uber told its employees that more than 20 people have been fired after an investigation into sexual harassment claims. TechCrunch reports former Apple marketing executive Bozoma St. John has taken a job at Uber. I saw someone say that she'll be chief branding officer at Uber. I haven't seen that confirmed yet. Uber has also hired former Harvard associate Francis Frey as its first SVP of leadership and strategy, tasked with overhauling company culture, training and recruiting managers, and creating a zero-tolerance sexual harassment policy. So this is a house cleaning at Uber, and this isn't even the Eric Holder investigation yet. This is just the first step.
And this is also, they said there's even more employees who are currently receiving kind of like lessons in how not to sexually harass.
Remediation, sort of.
They're basically getting like therapy. There's a better word for it than what I'm coming up with. I can't remember what exactly they said. They're getting like retrained, essentially. Yeah. And then there's still more people that still even need to be processed and who are going through the review process about this right now. So they are really, really digging in, which I appreciate. I think that's good. I think they had to take big steps.
So yes, there is no doubt that what Uber is doing is significant. They're not holding back. There obviously are questions about whether this will actually fix things or not that can't be answered by anybody, no matter, you can have your opinions about whether it will, but we just won't know until they're through the entire Eric Holder report and they've taken all the steps and give them time to see what works. What I wonder for you, Veronica, somebody who's working in tech right now, do you think this could have the effect of changing the culture beyond just Uber? Do you think other companies might start looking at this and saying, you know what, we need to take action now before we end up in that situation?
I mean, certainly not every company has the same level of problems that Uber has. I think this is really a top-down issue in a lot of ways, where the culture is informed by the executive level people sometimes, or at least them being very forgiving of that kind of behavior, or setting personal examples. And not cracking down very early. It's something that kind of has to develop very early in a company's culture to stay away from. That sounds really messed up, but when you start a company, you have to think about what kind of company you want to be and what kind of policies you put into place and how you treat your employees and how you expect your employees to treat their coworkers. And you have to crack down pretty early, or else sometimes, as we've seen, it can spiral out of control. And if there's no gatekeepers saying this is not okay, this is not acceptable behavior, it continues to spiral out of control. So I think maybe other companies who are either in their early stages or potentially even further along are going to start saying, we really need to get a system in place to prevent this from ever happening at the first point, let alone thinking about how to take care of it once it's already become a problem.
Yeah, I think that companies may have in the past swept some things under the rug because they thought they weren't that bad.
Oh yeah, this isn't us. This is not an issue here. This is just one individual. Yeah. Well, so usually
it's just, it really isn't horrible. It's just the way things are done. No real harm has happened. And I think this is the kind of situation that can make companies second guess that kind of attitude.
It's like dominoes. There's always, it starts with one situation and it just gets worse and worse sometimes, depending on the way the company handles it. So you really have to put the kibosh on it pretty early.
Yeah. Dominoes falling, not delivering in 30 minutes.
No, that's right.
Yeah. All right, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. And that is a look at our top stories. By the way, Daily Tech Headlines podcast, Amazon Echo Flash Briefing, and Anchor.fm, the app. Go try it out in all three places. Find out which one works best for you. Let's get Veronica's bot take. Out of your bot scene today, you had a link to a story about developing bot personalities. The idea that, if I have this right, you tell me, that you can't just create a bot that talks in natural language, that if you really want people to like the bot that your company is having interact with them, you got to give them a little personality.
Yeah, this is a really great post, and I think there's a ton of really good teachings here as well. But something I had never thought of before that really stood out to me was building a bot personality based on Myers-Briggs. And this was also very timely, as Tom knows, because my husband took the Myers-Briggs, and then I took it, and then I made Tom take it, and then we made Roger take it, and I made everyone I know at my company take it. And a lot of businesses do this because depending on what your personality type is, you may, take direction better in certain ways, or you might interact with certain people in different ways. And so it's kind of just a really good overview of how we respond and react to situations. And it's by no means definitive. I mean, it's kind of, it's not like Zodiac in the sense that, there's really a lot of science behind this. Not to say if you're a strong believer in Zodiac. I mean, my Zodiac sign really does feel like me sometimes.
There's more to the Myers-Briggs than star signs.
Exactly.
It's based on elements of actual human psychology, but at the same time, it's not definitive. If you take the test and it tells you you're an advocate or a debater or something like that, that you may not fit squarely into all of these categories.
Totally. Some people like my husband fit exactly into his category. I think you fit pretty closely too.
But anyway, I ended up with the advocate. It's the least common personality type.
I'm the consul. I'm the depending on which version of the test you look at. I'm an ESFJ. So I'm extroverted, sensing, feeling, and judging.
Oh yeah, I
judge myself a lot. I judge other people.
Huh. We're both FJ. That's why we get along. And Roger took the test and ended up as the debater, ENTP.
Oh, I'm so surprised. I'm
you?
not surprised.
No.
I'm not at all surprised.
He would debate you about that.
I'm sure he would. I mean, I can't wait to read about that personality type because it's going to crack me up.
But the
anyway,
idea here is that you can take these personality types and you can create a bot that fits into one of these 16 personality types, right?
Exactly. And then you kind of have an idea of how your bot's going to interact with people. You can write your copy, you can write your personality or train your AI around that personality type. So it's consistent. And that's one of the most important things about designing kind of a bot experience for the future is having a consistent experience that people understand how to communicate with it.
Two things I took out of this article that I thought were so interesting was, one, the idea that people project a personality on a conversational interface, whether you create one or not. And I think of all of the early GPS units where we talked about how mad they sound if we didn't follow the directions. And they didn't really, but you project that on them, right? So the idea is you want to take charge of that if you're creating a bot, so that the projected personality isn't just randomly assigned by the listener, but you're guiding what that personality should be. And then the other thing that I found interesting is they're hiring authors to help create these personalities.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Not till I read this article, no.
Oh no, yeah, this is a huge trend in bots. A lot of the big companies like Pullstring, for example, hire creative writers and authors to work on the platform to give the specific bots, whether it's a branded bot or whether it's something that you're going to build on top of a very distinct personality and voice.
Yeah, so you need someone who's good at writing dialogue, right? And creating distinct personalities. That's an author or a screenwriter, right? That's pretty cool.
Well, that's one of the reasons I actually got into.
Oh, that's one of the reasons they silenced her. I did see that and thought, wow, Google was hiring. They're not hiring anymore. I mean, I'm not going to leave this job, but if I had to, I would totally take a job working for a bot company, writing up the bot personalities. Roger, would you do that?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I didn't get a chance to read my entire personality result profile, so I still may get a surprise like, oh, I should totally become like a lawyer, which I would probably detest because I have two cousins. Not that because my cousins are lawyers, but because they've told me that it's kind of a very painful road to hoe. Yeah. Oh, there's Veronica. Hello.
So I was just.
How did you lose me?
I was just talking to Roger, saying that if I had to not do this job, which I don't plan to leave, I might want that job. I might want to create conversational interfaces as an author, like as a writer. That'd be
There you
fun.
go.
Yeah.
Did you lose me mid-sentence?
I did, but it was near the end of a sentence, so I feel like you were finishing
Wrapping
the
up.
thought.
All right.
Yeah.
It was a really good thought.
What was it again?
No, I don't remember now.
Yeah.
It's gone.
I'm gonna just rewind. It'll be fine. Well, this is really cool. So, of course, you can find more like this in the bot zine. Where do they go to subscribe to that?
Botzine.org.
Excellent. All right, we got some fan mail here. Some reactions to WWDC, a few other things. Alan wrote in and said, as you and Patrick were summing up the WWDC, Patrick mentioned that Apple was showing off VR, mainly to attract VR developers rather than VR users, at least yet. It is a developers conference. At that point, something clicked, and all the stuff about machine learning, which is useful for VR, and pro users came together for me with the goal of VR developers. I think I know why. Apple has lost a lot of ground in recent years to Windows in the creative professional space, especially in video production, between the lukewarm reception to Final Cut Pro and the lack of pro hardware development. A lot of creative pros have moved to Windows when not too long ago no one would have considered anything but an Apple machine for most creative work, things like illustration, photo, video, etc. This translates into consumer mind space as well, not to mention the prosumers who also trend towards Apple, the tool of the professionals. I think Apple realizes that VR is the next big battleground for creative professionals, and if they ever want to regain their position as the platform of choice, VR is their opportunity to do so. Of all the pros that felt abandoned by Apple, the creative professionals are probably the most important to Apple's brand and reputation. Alan says, wow, I didn't think I'd get anything out of WWDC coverage, but you guys managed to spur some interesting thoughts. Bravo!
That's a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but I think that was good. I totally agree too.
Yeah, I think that is smart, and I think Alan totally nailed it in a way that it hadn't crystallized for me yet, which is it's not just that they're going back after the professionals, they're trying to target the next thing professionals will need machines for, rather than competing on the things they need now, where, like he said, Windows has already stolen a lot of market share. So aim towards where people are going, and you're more likely to get them back.
All right.
Jake from KFDI in Wichita, Kansas, actually sent us a call, and he's got a lovely radio voice.
Hey, DTNS crew. Apple is planning on blocking text messages while driving with iOS 11. That's according to an article I found on CNN Money. It's their Do Not Disturb While Driving feature. If the car's moving or if the phone is connected to a car, it would hold back on any notifications for things like text messages or news updates, according to CNN. You can set your phone to auto-respond with a message saying you're driving. The thing that caught my attention, though, the iPhone screen would be locked. You could still use Apple Maps, but you won't be able to input destinations. Passengers can disable the screen lock. That sounds like things like Waze or Pokemon Go, giving you the ability to say, I'm a passenger. I can't tell if this is going to be automatically enabled or if it's something that you opt into, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. AAA Kansas says the number of teenage drivers involved in deadly crashes jumped 10% between 2014 and 2015, and that 16 and 17-year-olds are 3 times more likely than adults to be involved in a fatal crash. AAA says distractions like cell phones or talking to friends plays a part in 6 out of 10 crashes involving teenagers. Do you think Apple's idea is a good way to reduce those statistics?
Yeah, this is something where you will be able to not use it if you want, because just in order to have passengers be able to use their phones, you have to be able to turn it off. And you can have it on and say, oh no, I'm a passenger. So some people will be able to get around it. It also doesn't stop people from texting while driving. This is notification elimination. So again, people can get around it and do some texting, but it would put a speed bump in it. I think it will, if anything, it won't directly stop things, but it will sort of create the mindset of, oh, right, I shouldn't be doing that.
I would like it to be able to turn off notifications when something like Waze is running, because my big problem is I constantly get notifications because the screen is unlocked. So I get those drop-down notifications.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I burped. Did you hear me? I hope not.
But now we're certain we heard it.
Now you're definitely going to hear me. Anyway, sorry about that. It drives me nuts, those notifications. And sometimes they just sit there blocking the top third of the screen for a really long time.
No, and this is going to be great for that. And in fact, I might want to trick my phone into thinking it's driving sometimes just to reduce the notifications. Yeah. You want to get the
Jake
next
has
one?
a great voice. Yes, I do.
He does.
This one comes from Bill. He says, Tom, I never know how to say this.
I don't either, but I think I'm going to say Hopog this time because I say it different every time.
Hopog.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, Tom, when my Hopog cable card tuner died, I replaced it with a Silicon Dust home run cable card tuner. I had been using the free version of Plex till then, but when I saw that Plex supported DVR on the home run, I bought the Plex Pass. I also bought a Roku to supplement my Chromecasts. Plex Live is only available on Android TV and iOS at this time. When it becomes available on more devices, I'll be able to use it. I could eliminate 3 set-top boxes from Comcast if I wasn't the only family member who knew how to operate Plex, Roku, and Chromecast. I don't think the non-technical type of user is a potential Plex customer. I've been using the Windows Media Center with a cable card tuner as a DVR for many years. The problem is viewing the recorded videos on devices other than the system running WMC when it was recorded. I can convert non-protected videos to MP4 files, but I lose all the metadata. Plex displays the metadata, and I can see the data with thumbnails on my alternate devices. The bottom line is that Plex has a lot to offer, but it isn't ready for prime time. It's from Bill Burlingame in Huntsville.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. That's good analysis because it's one of the debates we had on Cord Killers yesterday about this as well, which is whether it's friendly to the babysitter, right? To the person who comes over as a guest who doesn't know how your system works. And I think it could be. I think Plex could be if it's a very simple setup where it's like you press this button to turn on the TV and the Roku, and that's all there is. But if you've got a cable box and something else, it can start to get more complicated. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Finally, just another pilot and Patreon supporter wrote in about the proposal to privatize air traffic control. Now, this is a little farther afield from our normal tech operation, but I know we have a lot of pilots out there, Joe the pilot for one, and a bunch of folks. And this correspondent said, hey, and this is not Joe, by the way, this is just another pilot, says, hey, if any of you guys want to or need to touch on this, I'd love to point you in the direction of my viewpoint. Basically, making air traffic control private won't speed up innovation. We've got a good plan to modernize the system, and it'll never happen until it's funded. If it's something that comes up, keep an eye out for Next Gen, which can meet 2 of I don't know how many goals without any funding. The rest will need to come from money somehow. The ATC union might be a hurdle to innovation, but everything I've seen from GAO and otherwise hasn't pointed to the controllers of the union or to regulation. Get Next Gen up and running, and you can probably decrease some of the staffing, but no one is holding up that first step except Congress by way of both parties. So this is someone who works in the system and says, I don't know if this is going to help or hurt, but what you really need is to fund the change of the technology, and they have a couple of opportunities there.
Interesting. Yeah, I read that the union was pro privatization, but I don't really know enough about this kind of thing to speak knowledgeably on it.
Interesting. I'd read the opposite, so that is very interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, I definitely read that the union seemed to support it.
Well, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. Submit stories and votes on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Real quickly before we wrap up, Chris, the amateur traveler, he's been doing Tech and Travel Minute for us for over a year now. So give Chris a little congratulations on Twitter if you see him. Go check out amateurtraveler.com. And thanks to my new setup, I can actually play them in line now. So here's Chris going a little old school this week.
I'm Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler with another Tech in Travel Minute. We're going to go old school today here, thinking again about road trips this summer. Some of you may not be old enough to remember this, but it used to be we used these maps that were made of this thing called paper. And if you were really lucky, you used a map from the AAA, from the American Automobile Association when traveling in the U.S. here, that was called a triptych, Triptik. And that was where they took individual small maps and they marked out your route with little stamps that had arrows on them and where to turn, all of these things, and you would turn page by page through this. It was particularly wonderful if you were a kid and you were learning to navigate. Well, it turns out that's not entirely dead. There is still a way to do that at AAA. Search Google for AAA Triptych, Triptik, and you'll find their Triptych app, and you can use it to print either on actual paper or to a PDF file, or even send it to an email, this series of maps that are step-by-step directions for the specific trip you're doing. It will give you driving directions as most apps do, but will also give you advisories that this particular route in summer is busy between this and this exit. There's deep fog in this section this time of year, and then we'll give you these detailed segment-by-segment maps. If you want to go old school or nostalgic with your navigation this year, go to AAA's Triptych. I'm Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'd forgotten all about triptychs. I used them in the 90s, and you had to go to the office and have them print them out for you. It's pretty great that you can just do it. You can DIY it now.
I feel like he told me something about that like many years ago.
Yeah, I probably
Maybe
did.
it was another travel podcaster.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, thank you, Chris. Go check out Amateur Traveler, like you said, amateurtraveler.com, and send us your picks, feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Veronica Belmont, thank you so much. Where can folks find more of what's going on with you?
The usual, twitter.com/Veronica, growbot.io, and swordandlaser.com.
Our email address here is feedback at dailytechnewsshow.com. Thanks to everybody who gives a little value back for the value they get from the show, including all the fine folks at patreon.com/DTNS. You guys are the best. You keep us in business. And I just sent out the monthly update for people who are in supporting us at $1 a month or less. That's 5 cents a show. And it just gives you a little heads up about who the guests are coming up, what our plans are, what's going to be happening at Nerdtacular, for instance, all that stuff. So if you're a supporter, check that out, patreon.com/DTNS. We're live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC at alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv. We're at facebook.com/Daily Tech News Show, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That was a good show.
Yeah.
We planned a shorter show because of tech issues, and it ended up being the same amount of time it always is.
Nice.
Goes to show that I feel like it doesn't really matter what content you plan for. Like, if it's 2 people, it lasts this long. If it's 3 people, it lasts this long.
Titles?
What should we call it, Roger?
Mad Tom Beyond the Privacy Dome.
This description of ESFJ is so dead on for me. It cracks me up. They need approval from others to feel good about themselves.
You're doing a great job.
I can't even load Showbot, by the way. Oh, there we go.
Roger's going to read them for you.
Oh, Park, the autonomous car in the park.
All right, that's the top one. Then there's the 3 personality flaws of robotics. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't feel that. The bot of personality. FAA obsolete.
Fobsolete.
Dude, you're getting a backpack. Get it? Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Well,
Alarming
it's an
state.
HP, though, not a Dell.
The dating game. My personality test tells me I'm a DTNS. Veronica burps. I hate the notif burp. Friendly to the babysitter. Veronica's lost packets. A proud tradition of mispronouncing things. Are you my type?
Oh, that's cute.
Oh,
I like that.
I like that one. I like that one's good.
Oh, that's yeah. We all voted on that at the same time.
I think that was the 3 of us.
I haven't even read my personality. I'm just a debater.
Are you?
Follow the path of the unsafe independent thinker. Expose your ideas to the dangers of controversy. Speak your mind and fear less the label of crackpot than the stigma of conformity. And on issues that seem important to you, stand up and be candid at any cost.
So you're an ENTP?
Yeah. Or you could just shorten it to ET.
I like.
So did they put dad jokes in this personality test? Have you have the dad jokes?
Oh, yours. Oh, this is mine. It's remembering mine.
Mine is the ENTP. I put in the Slack. I'm also a Scorpio Sagittarius, so I don't know what it means on.
Yeah, they don't relate.
The debater personality type is the ultimate devil's advocate, thriving on the process of shredding arguments and beliefs and letting the ribbons drift in the wind for all to see.
I like their more
Debaters don't do this because they're trying to achieve some deeper purpose or strategic goal, but for the simple reason that it's fun. This is so you. No one loves the process of mental sparring more than debaters, as it gives them a chance to exercise their effortlessly quick wit, broad accumulated knowledge base, and capacity for connecting disparate ideas to prove their points. Oh my God, I cannot believe how much this is you. This is not. But Tom, which were you? Were you the
I'm
diplomat?
the advocate.
But on this, I think you might have also been a diplomat.
Ooh, romantic.
The advocate is the
Depends on-
diplomat. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So this tactic shouldn't be confused with the sort of mutual understanding diplomat personalities seek. Debaters, like all analyst personality types, are on a constant quest for knowledge. And what better way to gain it than to attack and defend an idea from every angle, from every side? Oh my
They
God, I'm
will do
cracking up.
podcasts with the advocate personality and constantly debate them.
I want to say, Parenthood. They have a section on Parenthood. How do my kids turn out?
Ooh, debaters you might know. Weird Al Yankovic, Adam Savage, Sarah Silverman,
Nice.
Mark Twain. That's cool. And Tom Hanks.
Really?
Hanks.
Tom Hanks?
Thomas Edison. That's funny. And Irene Adler.
Irene
Some
Adler,
made up
the
people.
fictional character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, though. As close as that was to Roger, I read one that was not yours, thinking it was yours, and was like, this is so Veronica. So there's a little bit of like, you will project what you expect on these descriptions.
Mm-hmm. Coming to terms with their sensitivity is Consol's biggest challenge. People are going to disagree and they're going to criticize, and while it hurts, it's just a part of life.
What's that?
This is me. This
That's
is
you.
me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Conclusion. What does the premium profile get you? A printout? Stickers?
Personality change. They'll actually do surgery on you.
Well, what's the ideal personality?
No, it's just a matter of taste. You're like, you know what? I'm tired of being so argumentative.
I want to know romantic relationships. How does it end?
Oh, you're going to do Jen's next?
Dating and debater personalities is a hardly boring experience. They make use of their enthusiasm and creativity by delighting and surprising their partners with new ideas and experiences. I don't.
I bet you
I
do.
plan it. I watch YouTube. I play video games. I read.
God, this is so me. The console in a workplace is like so funny.
All right, we're going with Are You My Type?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Cool.
Ooh, Roger, what percent are you turbulent? What percent turbulent are you?
Wait,
With
what does
your
that
results, it shows your percentage. Like,
Is that like being on the cusp in astrology?
Oh, wait. So let me see. I see mind, energy, nature, tactics, identity. I don't see.
no. So on your page where it says your debater personality,
63%.
63. I'm 88% turbulent. What are you judging? What's your judging?
Judging.
It's the one above turbulent.
Oh, 36.
Super judgy.
I'm not judging.
No,
I'm not low
No,
judge.
he's not. He's the opposite.
Oh, he's not very judgy.
I'm
very
88%
judgy.
judging.
I expect to be disappointed by most people, so it's not for me to judge. Everyone can meet your expectations when they're low enough. That's what my science. That's what my chemistry.
So this is for Roger. For relationships. From the earliest dates, debaters test their partner's limit for this kind of potential, pushing boundaries and traditions, looking for open-mindedness and spontaneity. Dating debater personalities is hardly a boring experience, and they make use of their enthusiasm and creativity by delighting and surprising their partners with new ideas and experiences. Does that sound like you?
Yeah.
Yeah, these aren't all perfect, but they're funny.
It really depends. I mean, maybe when I was younger, I was super but as you get older, you just move slower.
Okay, so here's my opinion on these. They are not worthless because they are actually based on real personality traits. Like, they didn't just make this stuff up. People differ in these various ways that they're assessing. But the problem is there are probably more than 16 personality types. And there's a sort of a distance between I'm answering a question and that question is going to put me in a bucket. And so you have a percentage chance of getting someone close to what they're about. But it's still not tuned to the complexity of the human personality that it's going to be perfect every time. And I think that's why it's fun to look at these and go, oh my gosh, that person really does fit this description. But it's not something that you should use as 100% accurate. Like every person who takes this test is now in a bucket and that's where they stay. And I think that's why they have the turbulence scores and things like that, right? Veronica left.
Well, that was
Like,
part
I
of
don't
her
wanna hear
personality
that.
type. First to leave the party. To get to the next party.
I think they're really interesting though. And there's certainly more to them than just randomness.
Yeah, it's not random. But I mean,
But their
everyone
accuracy
has
is
a little bit of, and the thing is, people have different traits express themselves depending on the context of the situation.
Yes, that's a very good point. Like even, your answers to these questions can change based on how you feel and what your experiences were that day.
And like how I approach someone I've never met will definitely be different than someone I know. And so like I'm not going to, if I'm at like, a store and I'm requesting, I'm not going to play mind games. They just tell me where I can find, screws or staples.
Staples is up on Olympic, right on Sentinella.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a one for puns. You can search for personality traits derived from puns. People like to pun.
Yes, the Mike Meyer Jason Briggs test.
Let's see. This goes
Yeah,
away.
Beatmaster says it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You look for cues to confirm the bias or expectations. That said, I don't think all 16 would fit. So the fact that you're answering these questions and they are related in some way to reality does narrow the number of them that would actually apply. Okay.
Let's see, bot take. That's what you call it. Bot take, bot take.
Okay. I think we're all published and everything. Check that out. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed whatever your personality type is, and we'll be back tomorrow with Scott Johnson.
All right.